and welcome back to RevShed Backfire Classic Bike Workshop. So we're back again now, just about to put the caliper onto the fork leg. Hopefully I can do this with bouncing with the camera in one hand, and you'll be able to see me hopefully positioning the caliper back onto the disc. And not quite in position yet. There we go. So that's that back in position. Just need to pop a couple of bolts in now. I don't know whether you'll be able to see me doing that, but let's see if we can put the camera so you can see that. Now that the pads are around the disc, there's no danger of them getting dislodged, so we can relax a little bit now. Always a bit of a delicate job making sure you don't disturb anything while you're putting the caliper back on, and then just getting the holes lined up with the bolts. And there we are, both of those started now, so I'll see you later on when we start to bleed the brake. Now got the brake caliper back in position and brake pipes all connected. Comes the job next of bleeding the brakes. On this particular model of bike, they are not the easiest of brakes to bleed, and I have had quite a problem with this. This has been quite a challenge. Here's the brake master cylinder. It's only loosely fastened on at the moment, and as you can see, the brake lever switch is not yet installed. The reason for that is that I've had to disconnect this union here and back bleed the brake using a syringe. Now, this is just a medical syringe that you can get anywhere. So if you fill that with brake fluid, get a suitable piece of hose, just a short length, to connect that to the bleed nipple which is there. You back feed this, but make sure that the brake pads are fully pushed back into the caliper, so that there's minimal space between the piston and the brake housing. That means that there's less air to push out of the system. If you try and bleed it the other way, having had the system completely drained, the master cylinder just does not want to pump anything out in the first instance. So backfeeding the pipe is the only option. Obviously take care to cover everything up to make sure you don't spill any fluid on any paintwork, and don't forget when it's all done to replace this little tin plate that you can see in there. That tin plate, I'm not sure quite what it does, but it's supposed to stop fluid squirting up into the top of the chamber. So it's a case really of, once you've filled that pipe, pumping like fury this brake lever to build up a head of pressure, and then just releasing the valve on the caliper and letting some fluid out, closing it, let the lever slowly return to rest, and keep doing that. It will take a lot of patience and quite a bit of time. Once you've done, you should get a lever with a nice firm feel to it. So that's as much as I can tell you about that. It's just a case now of me reassembling it and then going out on road test to bed the brake pads in, which have got their own specific instructions, which again I'll just shove a little picture on the end of the video with the instructions on that came with the pads. Okay, bye for now. Another point to take a note of is to make sure that the little grommet that seals the piston behind the lever goes back in correctly. Best to use some form of plastic tool to just ease it into the groove, and then make sure that this end sits nicely over the groove in the end of the piston. I've just applied a little bit of silicone grease in the back of there just to stop the corrosion from sealing it in, just so that it's easier to get out if you do need it back in pieces in the future to fit new seals or something like that. So there we go. I'll put that back on in a minute, and then just to make sure also that you make certain that this particular clamp is fitted the correct way up. I don't know whether you can see that, but it is marked up, so that one has to sit onto that part there when this is on the handlebar. Here we are with final assembly, master cylinder in place. Don't over tighten the screws, they only need to be nipped down to hold the seal in position around the periphery, and same applies to the bolts here. They don't need to be fastened too tightly, just enough to make sure that everything's in position and held securely. The adjuster on here allows you to alter the lever to suit your riding preferences. I always have it fully screwed in at the first few miles when I've fitted brake pads, just so that if there's any air that's trapped anywhere and finds its way through, it doesn't leave you with too little travel. And you will find that when the pads bed in, that the lever will harden up a little bit as well, so then you can adjust it to your riding preference. So that's that job completed, finished, and just a road test now to make sure everything's in order, and just to bed the pads in before we hit the trails. Okay, that's the end of this video for now. Take care everybody, and keep safe, especially on the trails. Try to ride with a buddy, it's always safer.